So as you guys probably know right now, Kanye West has made a very tardy attempt to entering the election. He has come in very late, and he decided he's having this election run. And a lot of people are theorizing that it's an attempt to aid Donald Trump in victory by pulling away African American voters from the Democratic Party to him. Instead of going to Joe Biden, he has met with Jared Kushner. He's met with Republican operatives, apparently. And he's made it only on a couple of ballots. So this one I really wanted to report on because it seems to be the most serious case of a ballot that he's reached. Now, it says Kanye West makes it on the ballot in Minnesota. Now, it's the rapper Kanye West has officially secured a spot on the presidential ballot in Minnesota this November as a third-party candidate. The Minnesota Secretary of State's office shows West as one of 7 presidential candidates who will appear on the presidential ballot. He will run as an independent in the state. So, he secured spots in Arkansas, Colorado, Oklahoma, Utah, and Vermont. But the thing about those states are, Colorado, I believe the difference was by about like 5 points about. So that's not something that Kanye can clear. Now, Hillary Clinton only won Minnesota by about 1.5 points. Okay, that's about how much she had won the race by. So that's a pretty close margin, especially because the polls have Kanye at about 2%. Now the question is he pulling votes from Joe Biden, right? Is he pulling votes away from people who would be voting Joe Biden and then voting for him? That's where I actually think no, but I could be wrong. Now, his favorable, one poll had his favorable rating at about 17% and like 66% unfavorable. But another one that I saw actually had him favorable at 11%. So he's clearly not somebody who is liked by people, virtually anybody. And, he doesn't really have any young fans. He's a pretty old artist at this point. He was putting out music since like the early 2000s. We're now in 2020. He doesn't really have many young fans. Most of his fans are older, who are not, they're probably in their 30s, maybe even 40s, in their 20s and stuff. So there is no real like teenage Kanye fan base or anything like that. That's not really a thing anymore. He's kind of capped out at this point. So this is the closest one because Hillary only won the state of Minnesota by about 1.5 points. That's a pretty close margin. He's pulling 2% in the polls. So is this going to be able to flip? Now, Minnesota is a crucial state. It's got 10 electoral votes, and it could decide the election, certainly. Everyone's looking at Florida, Ohio, North Carolina, Arizona, and the Rust Belt, okay? Minnesota can definitely be a player in those. And so if Minnesota goes red, which would be surprising, how much of that Minnesota result had to do with the genuine shift and a general shift if from blue to red, or was it because people just hated Hillary Clinton? Because Obama in 2012, I believe, won the state by over 7 points or something like that. So how much of that has to do with that, I don't know. But this is definitely a big deal, honestly, no matter how you put this, because it can really bring this to being a close election in Minnesota, and Minnesota is a pretty crucial state. Now, is he actually going to be able to pull any Democratic voters? I don't think so, because I don't think he really has good approval numbers amongst African Americans or Democrats for that matter. And I think that the only person who would be down to vote for him for president is a Republican and not a Democrat. So I'm not really seeing that. But could it be possible? Could I just be wrong? Yeah, it could be possible for sure.